Hello, beautiful manifestors. It is Olivia Grace, and I'm back with another video for you all. And this video is going to be a compilation of all the times that I have manifested an apartment, a home, a place to stay, all of that. I have done it time and time and time again, 7 times to be exact. Each time that I've moved as an adult has been because of manifestation. I have done this with evictions on my credit. I have done this with a credit score below like 500. Okay, my credit score is in the 400s. I've done this with no money. I've done it every which way that you could do it. Okay, and I'm making this video. All of these videos are already available to watch individually because I have been documenting them. I'll put like a playlist of my success stories up here, and you can find them all there. But I realize, and really how I want to open this video is that some of you guys know, some of you guys don't. If you're new on my channel, you don't. But my manifestational journey, my journey to mastering manifestation, to be honest, came with a lot of struggle. And I'm not saying it has to be like that, you LOA Nazis. I'm not saying that, you have to struggle. I'm just saying that was my experience. And so a lot of times for me, my training in manifestation was about manifesting a home, a place to stay, manifesting my car note, or, manifesting not to get my heat turned off or to keep my electric on, right? So these things were the way that I like to frame it is that the position that I found myself in as a young adult was that I didn't have anything or anyone really to rely on for finances. And I had to rely on my imagination. I truly don't know where I would be without manifestation. And I just say that to encourage you all that I know when you're going through the stuff and going through trying to manifest this, and even if you're just here because you're like, I want to manifest my big, beautiful home, even if it's not a story of like getting yourself out of struggle or just finding a place to live, I know how it can seem impossible. Each time I had impossible circumstances. And that's why I wanted to make this video, so that you guys could gain some of the faith that I've gained. Now, I've manifested lots of other things, of course, but I think just hearing this story told 7 times, 7 different ways, each time I did it, well, I won't say each time I did it in a different way, but you'll see. So I want to just encourage you guys, because in hindsight, looking back at everything that I was able to bring myself through with manifestation, it has made me a master manifester, you guys. It has made me, honestly, I'm not going to say I never react or never doubt, but I'm not very doubtful. I'm not very reactive to what's going on because I've been up against impossible circumstances and overcome them every time. So that faith can only come from you doing it yourself. So I'm just telling you all and intending for you all here, give yourself a chance. Don't give up on yourself because it seems impossible, right? There's nothing impossible in this world. And I'm intending that this video proves that to you. Okay. All right. This is already going to be long, so I'm going to get to the point. Before I do, I am Olivia Grace. This is the Master Manifestors channel. Here I talk about law of assumption, manifestation, all of that great stuff. If you're interested, then you should like the video, comment, share it with someone that you think it will help. I am your neighborhood hope dealer. I deal hope to all the manifestors in the land. Okay. So if you're looking for hope, if you're looking for power, if you're looking to really understand the mechanics of manifestation, you're in the right place, okay? I do have coaching available. There are links in the description, and I am hosting a money mastery manifestation class. It's going to be a 30-day group program that is starting in February. So if you're interested, early bird pricing is going to be available until Tuesday, okay? All right, let's get in to the video. Okay, I'm going to take you guys back, way back into time. I'm very goofy on this channel, so if you don't like that, if you're a very serious person, then don't be here, okay? It's going to blow you. All right. So let's start from the beginning. Me moving out of my parents' house. I was about 21, 22. My parents moved to Florida. Initially, I was supposed to move with them. I was with my toxic ex. We had just gotten back together, and he was like, no, stay here with me, right? Now, both he and I don't know if he had ever had a place in his name. I definitely hadn't not had a place in my name. Long story short, what I did to manifest that place, and this was when, like, around the time I was dating him, I was very new into manifestation. So the best thing that I could do at that point was just make a list, right? I just made a list of the things that I wanted. And to be honest, I only got like half of what was on that list. But we did end up getting our apartment. Now, in that apartment, we struggled and, was facing eviction a lot. And it was a lot, which I talk about how to avoid eviction. I'll put that up there too. I just made that video as well. Because I also eluded eviction like all throughout these times. But anyway, he and I lived together for a while, and we broke up. When we broke up, I needed a place to stay. Now, mind you, I still, my credit was shot at this point. Like, dating that person, my credit was new when I met him, and by the time I was done dating him, my credit was over with, like done with. So he would tell me like, oh, buy this thing on your credit card, do this, and I'll pay you back. Never pay me back. So just any of you young girls out there, don't let some dusty dude ruin your credit and ruin like the beginnings of your life. But anyways, it's all good. Everything happens for a reason. So from there, when we broke up, right? We broke up and he started acting crazy. He was already slick abusive, and so I was like, I needed to get out of there. But at that moment, I had decided and was just in the mindset that I can't get my own place right now. I really needed to get out quick, and I didn't have time to do all of that. So at that point, I honestly, you guys, at this point in my life, I was just honestly in flow. I wasn't really doing much to manifest a place, but I'm going to tell you how it unfolded. I was just in flow. I was feeling peace. I was kind of in the general sense of everything is working out for me. Okay. And so what happened was I was invited to a New Year's party, right? And I almost didn't go because I'm not a party type of girl. I don't like to go hang out and stuff like that. Well, now I kind of do, but back then I didn't. But I ended up going. It was with some coworkers. And when I went there, my coworker, I noticed that she had an extra bedroom in her apartment. But whatever, I just noticed it. We went back to work. And at work, she was telling me how she was struggling to pay her rent and that she had a roommate. Her roommate had moved out and she was now paying like double the rent by herself, and she was struggling. Mind you, we're working at Red Lobster at this time, so she's not making like a whole bunch of money. So at that point, I was like, ding, light bulb, like, oh, like maybe I could be, maybe I could be your other tenant. And so long story short, that ends up happening. I end up moving in and I'm in this place, right? Obviously didn't have to apply for anything, didn't have to do anything. I think I gave her like $100 deposit and I had a place, right? All right. Now, living there, long story short, the roommate that was there was someone who had previously dated my now SP. And it was like a whole bunch of like just drama kind of with that. And so the girl, even though the roommate wasn't there, the girl that was living there kind of had an issue with my SP or something like that. But long story short, they end up like making up some lie about why I have to leave and told me I have 30 days to get out. Okay. All right. So at that point, I was honestly like stressed because I'm like, I'm still knowing my credit is shit. I'm not making a lot of money. You know what I mean? Like, I think at that time, y'all, I was saving up like my ones, like all the ones that I would make in a day. I would just save them like in a mirror. And I had like $70 in ones. And I felt like I was balling. Like, so that like, I just was like really concerned. Like, how am I going to get a place? So with this was actually my first very difficult manifestation for me. But I'm telling y'all, listen, this was a pivotal moment in my manifestational journey, because this is when I came face to face with impossible, no way, and needing it to work out. And it worked out. Okay. All right. So this is happening. What happened after that? So I have 30 days to move out of these people's house. Mind you, side note, it's so funny, y'all, because I sat down, like once I moved in, the girl had moved in her girlfriend, and the girlfriend had like 2 little dogs. And every time I would walk in the house, the dogs would run and bite me, like run and bite my ankles. They were like little chihuahuas, York, something like that. Run and bite me. Like I would literally like climb through the window in my room. But I had already basically been feeling like I kind of want to leave anyways, right? But I didn't know how that would be. I remember sitting on my bed and I was like, I want to be out of here by Christmas. This is like the summer. As soon as the thought left my mind, I want to be out by Christmas, they text me like, hey, I want to talk to you. And that was when they told me like, oh, you have to leave in 30 days. So I'm searching for a place, you guys. I'm going from place to place to place. I'm getting denied everywhere, y'all. And I'm like, at this point, y'all, I don't even have a car. So I'm having to Uber to these places. I would literally call them beforehand and be like, hey, do you have this apartment at this price that it says on the website? They're like, yeah, come in. I come in. We don't have that. It's actually like double that price. I was like, what the fuck? I just talked to y'all. Like, what are you talking about? But it was horrible, you guys. And I was so frustrated. I was frustrated. I was scared. I was like, dude, I don't know where I'm about to live. Literally. Like, I have to get out of this place. I don't have anywhere to go. Right. So finally, I just made a list. Once again, I made a list of everything that I wanted, and I kind of released it. I just kind of let go, right? Next day, I'm at work, and one of my coworkers, she's talking about how she moved here from Tennessee, how her application for her apartment was so quick and easy. She got instantly approved. And I was like, how is it? Like, where did you apply at? Because she's talking about, she's like, girl, like, I'm like, you must have good credit or something. She's like, no, I had bad credit, and they approved me on the spot. And yeah, like everything was super smooth and easy and simple. So I was like, what is this place? She tells me the place and she's like, well, it's in Stone Mountain. Now, where I was working at the time was like in Duluth. So you guys that are in Georgia, is like, it's about like Duluth to Stone Mountain. It's probably like a good like 30, 35, maybe even 40-minute drive. It can be, right? And because I didn't have a car, it needed to be a reasonable distance that I could Uber to work every day without like stressing, right? So when she said Stone Mountain, I was like, oh, that's probably really far from here. Like, how long does it take you to get to work? And she's like, no, it takes me like, I think she said like 15, 20 minutes. So she shows me, I'm like, can I see this? Like, can you pull this place up? She shows me the place, and as I'm looking at the pictures, y'all, I started crying because the pictures was everything on my list. It was everything that I had listed was there. Even this, like, down to the stainless steel. I was like, oh my God. I knew in that moment, before I even applied, before I even talked to them, anything, I knew that I was approved. I knew that it was done for me. This was my solution. This was my answer. I literally started crying on the spot. Like, I knew. So, of course, I went. I got approved on the spot. Mind you, my credit at this point is below 500. Okay. I got approved on the spot, moved into that place. All right. So then after that place, the place where I was not in a good neighborhood. Like, it was so scary for me, you guys, because I would get home sometimes at like 2 a.m. I would be walking down unsavory parts of town, going to the bank to deposit all the cash that I made at work. I would be scared every time I would come home. Like, I would be scared that my door was going to be kicked in or that someone was waiting for me around the corner. Like, it was not the best. It was not the best experience, but I was extremely grateful. The place was clean. I didn't have any bugs. It was spacious, and I had a place to call my own that nobody could kick me out of, right? Cool. So I'm there. Then after that, me and my SP at this point are already together. So we decide we're going to move into another place, right? And I wanted to manifest a luxury apartment, okay? And I was like, obviously, I want to be in a good part of town. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. Because that was one thing that I didn't include in my list. I wasn't even thinking about parts of town. I was like, I just need a place. I don't care where it's at, you know? But after living like that, it's not a good feeling to live somewhere where you feel like you always have to look over your shoulder. You have to be afraid every time you come home from vacation. Like, oh my God, did I get robbed, right? All right. So then we start to look for places, and we're having trouble again, right? We're getting denied. They're telling us this one thing, and then we get there and it's a whole nother thing. And I remember this place basically told us, like, you guys are approved. You're basically approved. We're just waiting on one thing, but you're really approved. And we were supposed to move in the day that our leases were up, right? And so that day, we're all packed up. I already moved out of my place. I'm staying with my SP where he's staying at. And they call us and like the day of deny us. Like, no, you're denied. Y'all, like I went to work and I was crying. Like I was just crying. I was like, oh my God, like what are we supposed to do? Like luckily, like my SP at the time was staying with like a landlord. And so she was understanding, was like, you guys can just stay like, you know, a couple more weeks or whatever. But y'all, when I tell y'all, I was so defeated at that moment. I was so defeated. I was so upset. I was like, I don't know where I'm going to go. And I remember crying. And one of my managers, this is when I worked at Papado, one of my managers came up to me and she was just consoling me and was just like, it's going to be okay. She was like, just let it go. She was like, it doesn't matter. You're not going to be homeless. If you have to stay with me, you'll stay with me, but you're not going to be homeless. So don't worry about that. Just let it go, right? Just let it go. It's going to work out for you. And those were just the exact words that I needed to hear, right? So after that, me and my SP, we had like one last place that we wanted to go check out. We went to check this place out, y'all. It was gorgeous. To this day, the most gorgeous apartment I've ever lived in. It was, everything about the apartment was stunning. And we were like, oh my God, like this is the place. And so how I was manifesting this was when, at this point, I know the law of assumption, right? So before all of this, I didn't know the law of assumption. Once I knew the law of assumption, I started using SATs, okay? So my SAT scene, at that time, for whatever reason, I really wanted to make some seafood lasagna, right? And so my SAT scene was seeing myself in this large, spacious kitchen with stainless steel appliances, pulling my seafood lasagna out of the oven and placing it on the island because I wanted an island, right? If I have an island in my kitchen in my apartment, it's a nice big kitchen. So that was my SAT scene, just that, pulling the seafood lasagna out the oven and putting it on the counter. And I would include the sensory of seeing stainless steel appliances, seeing the luxury layout, seeing super high ceilings, you guys. The ceilings were so high. Like that apartment was so gorgeous. But I'm doing all this in imagination. Meanwhile, they're denying us. I continued. I persisted in that scene, seeing myself pull out the lasagna, set it on the counter. We got approved. Within like 48 hours, we were approved. When I tell y'all, this was the most beautiful apartment we ever even saw. It was way better than any apartment that we had been looking at and cheaper than any apartment that we had been looking at. So that was amazing. I like I said, loved living there. It was gorgeous, right? Okay, cool. So then we're living there. We lived there for like a couple years or so. And then me and my SP at this point had started to think about like, maybe we should get a house, right? So we had been thinking about getting a house, but at the time we just didn't have like the qualifications. We didn't have the things that we needed to get a house. And so I remember the moment I was driving. At this point, I want to say I was doing Uber Eats at this point. So I was driving around in like some gorgeous neighborhood and I was like, wow, these houses are gorgeous. Wouldn't it be nice if we could have a house? And I was like, but we can't, we can't. We had looked at house. That's right. We had been looking at houses, but all the houses that were popping up like in our like price range were so ugly, y'all. They were so ugly. And they weren't upstairs, downstairs. Like I wanted upstairs, downstairs. I wanted floor to ceiling windows. I wanted a balcony. Like I wanted all the specific stuff. So looking at our options, we had just decided, look, we're happy here in this gorgeous apartment. We don't need to move. It's cool, right? But as I was driving in that neighborhood, the desire hit me again. And I was like, but I'm a manifester. Like it doesn't matter what I have, right? If I decide that we're homeowners, then we're homeowners. So I decided right then, we're homeowners. All right, cool. I had a SAT scene as well, right? So my SAT scene was two SAT scenes. One of them was me looking over the ledge and looking downstairs at my SP and saying, oh my God, we manifested this house. And him looking up and responding to me like, oh my God, yeah, we did. And then the other sat scene, because I really, 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 really wanted a balcony off my bedroom, was me getting up out of bed, walking from my bed to a door and opening it and walking outside. Okay, that was my sat scene. See how both of my sat scenes are super short, super simple, right? But they imply that this is my house now. So I did those sat scenes and I would feel it so real, you guys. I would feel it so real. Not that I felt it real the first time I did it. I continuously did it. I practiced, okay? This is the thing, y'all, with sats. Everybody says the same thing. I can't do that. I can't visualize. Dude, practice, okay? I couldn't visualize at one point either. I practiced. It's worth it for you to practice, in my opinion. But, do what you want. So, all right. So I did that. Literally after that, within a few days, you guys, this literally took days from me deciding we're going to be homeowners. We're homeowners now. It was like 2 or 3 days. We were in Florida at my mom's house, and Drum is looking at my SP. He's looking at a house, and he's like, dang, like one of his friends is a real estate agent, and his friend had posted it. So he liked it. He just was liking it to support his friend. And his friend like hits him up and is like, dude, like you should get this house. Do you want this house? Like if you want this house, then I'll help you, like I'll help you get into it. And long story short, after everything, we moved into that house. And y'all, that first night being in there, y'all, was so surreal. It was so surreal. I was like, what the heck? Like seeing this place that I literally dreamed up in my imagination, right? And we're living in it now. We have it. Like when we were in Florida and he told me that, he was like, yeah, my friend, he says, he says that he's, whatchamacallit? He says that he'll help us get into it, and if we want. And I was like, that might be nice. I was like, yeah, but does it have a balcony? He was like, actually it does. Y'all, when he said that, I was like, oh, I knew that moment. I knew that, oh, like this is happening. My manifestation is happening. It took months, you guys, of, for those of you who buy, have bought houses before, it's not just like, oh, you want to buy it? Here, sign this paper. Here you go. Like it's a process, and it took months. And y'all, when I tell you those months were so stressful, not really on me, but on my SP. And there was so many times, y'all, where it just looked like it just wasn't going to happen for us. Like it just couldn't happen for us. They're like, you need $13,000. We had nowhere near that. It still happened for us. But one thing I will say at that point, you guys, I was heavily like into prayer and connecting with God and everything like that. And I was just certain. I was like, look, it's not up to people. It's not up to man. It's up to God, and God has already given it to us, right? God has already given it to us. So no matter what obstacle came up, when they're like, oh, we need 13,000, I was like, then we're going to have that, period. We're going to have it. You see what I'm saying? And I just persisted through everything, every obstacle. And I just want to pause right here, you guys, because I think this is the thing that people don't cover. And I think this is why people just, I'm sorry, but have no discipline and expect, I'm sorry, like just expect things to fall in their lap. And here's the thing, you guys, things can fall in your lap. I'm not saying that things can't fall in your lap, but I'm saying if it means that much to you and it hasn't fallen in your lap, persist. That's all I'm saying. Okay. If I was to say in all of these cases thus far and the other two that I'm about to tell you, if I had given up at the first sign of trouble, of rejection, of a no, where would I be? Right? I was going to say on the street, but no, I'd probably just be living with my mom somewhere. Okay. Like you guys have to, yes, things can happen fast, instantly, but if it doesn't, persist. You can still get what you want just because it didn't happen the moment you said it. Keep go just because people are telling you no. Okay. Do you know how many no's I heard in all these processes? How many circumstances and things that seem like it just could not happen? It still happened, y'all. And that was what I was knowing through all the circumstances. It's already happened. It's already done. Okay. So moved in there. Then after that, my SP and I broke up. Right. So I had to find somewhere else to live. Mind you, at this point, I was already kind of down bad, because I did like previously, like 2021, I think I did my business. My business did really well for like a couple months and then it went bad. And then I started doing Uber Eats. And so I was doing Uber Eats. My credit, once again, now I had 2 evictions on my credit because the first apartment that I got with that toxic ex, he ended up, I don't know what he did, if he ruined the apartment or if he just abandoned the apartment, I don't know, but they put that on my record as an eviction, even though I hadn't lived there. And then the Stone Mountain apartment, the one I was talking about before, that apartment, they literally, like, they said I didn't give notice. I didn't know I had to give notice or anything like that. And they owed me money for my deposit that they never gave me, but they put 2 months rent basically that I had to pay since I didn't give them notice. And obviously at that time I didn't have the money to pay it. So it was another eviction. So at this point that my SP and I have broken up, I know I have to get a place, but I already knew how hard it was before to get a place with no evictions, right? So with evictions here in Atlanta, if you have evictions, it's an automatic no, okay? Even the apartments I was looking at that was like in the hood, like it was, if you have an eviction, it's a no, okay? So they saying that on the website, don't even come in, right? But I knew I needed a place. I couldn't stay in Florida because at the time I was making my money through Uber Eats, and Uber Eats is very much regional, right? You can make, like in Atlanta, you can make like 150, 200 in a day. In Florida, I could barely make like $30 because it's just laid out differently. So I knew I needed to get back to Atlanta, but I didn't have a place to stay in Atlanta, right? So once again, I started going into my imagination, right? I started deciding, no, I have a place to live. So let me tell y'all these circumstances, okay? Because it's going to sound crazy. So what happened was I ended up finding someplace on Craigslist. I know, like, recipe for disaster and for getting killed. But I was desperate, you guys, okay? I was desperate. So I ended up finding a place on Craigslist. It was the only place that I could afford that wasn't going to check my credit that I could move into, right? And the person there, he seemed really nice, whatever. I don't know, So that's my plan, right? Like, I'm going to go back to Atlanta and go stay at this place, at this random person's place in one of their rooms. So my mom hears about this, right? And she starts freaking out. She's like, what? Like, you're about to go stay with someone from Craigslist? Like, she's like, of course, any mom is like gonna worry about that, right? And so she's like, no, like, oh my God. And she ends up talking to my aunt, right? Which I was so upset about because I don't tell people my business. I don't tell people when I'm going through it. I just keep it to myself. But she told my aunt, and my aunt has a friend that lives in Atlanta. And this friend I actually had coincidentally, no coincidence, but coincidentally met a couple of years before and had went to her house. She had a big, beautiful, like 4 or 5 bedroom house. But it's just her. She's just one lady that lives there. And so she was like, why don't you ask her? Like, she's a flight attendant. She's barely home. She has that big old house. Like, why don't you ask her if you can just stay, and, rent from her and stay there. And at least it's someone that you know. So mind you, at that moment, y'all, this girl, I had only met her once, right? It's no guarantee that she's going to want to do that or allow me to do that, right? And so I still was like, okay, but this would be ideal. And actually, you know what? Before that happened, when I had already decided to stay in the Craigslist place, I was afraid, obviously. I was afraid for my safety. And I was like, okay, like I used the lullaby method, right? I said, I'm in a safe, comfortable home, something like that. I'm in a safe, comfortable home. I'm sleeping in a safe, comfortable home. I would use the lullaby method to lull myself to sleep. Lullaby method is just saying an affirmation as you fall to sleep instead of doing a visualization, okay? So I did that. And the next day, my mom told me about talking to my aunt. So when this happened, when she said, that girl, she has a house, like me and the girl got along when we met before. So I was like, this could be my safe, comfortable home, right? So that night I remembered her kitchen because we spent a lot of time in her kitchen. So I remembered vividly her kitchen, and I felt and saw and knew myself to be cooking eggs on her stove. I knew that if I'm there and I'm cooking eggs, I'm obviously staying there. I did that sat scene within 2 days, got in contact with the girl. She said yes. And I moved in with her, moved into this big, beautiful house, from having nowhere to go to literally a big, beautiful home to sleep in, fully furnished, everything I needed, like there. So that was cool for a minute, right? So that was cool. Everything was cool. And then it wasn't. Like, I don't know what it is with me and roommates, guys, but I honestly try to be the best roommate that I can. I try to just stay out the way, but somehow these people don't be liking me. Like, but the girl that I was staying with, it's a whole story, you guys, but I don't get into it because there's no point in just like spreading negative energy. But long story short, the lady was just a very particular person about her home. Like, don't sit on my couch without putting seat covers on the couch, which I don't mind. Like, it's your house. I'm going to respect what you tell me. But someone that's that particular about their house probably is not going to do the best with a roommate in their house. So, long story short, she just started acting weird to me, like just treating me so weird. Mind you guys, this is right after my dad passed away. So my dad passed away. I'm going through my SP journey. Me and my SP are broken up. My mental right now, I'm struggling with money. My mental was like broken. Like and she started like giving me the silent treatment. Like, it was weird. Like, when I would get home, it would seem like she would like run upstairs because she also moved her girlfriend in. She also had a little tiny dog. It was like almost copy paste the situation that I came from. But like, it was just weird. Like, I would come home and it would seem like they would like, as soon as they would hear my car, they would like go and like leave all their stuff, like leave like a plate of food, half open, dishwasher, everything. Like, they just had to run away from me to not interact with me. And this was like daily because we had gotten into like a little whatever. So me seeing that, you guys, I obviously wasn't comfortable to stay there anymore. And she, even though she was a flight attendant, like at first she was gone, but by this time, because I was paying her like $1,200, so she wasn't going to work as much. So she was home all the time. And it was so uncomfortable for me. I was just like, I have so much going on in my own personal life. I honestly can't sit here and worry about somebody being mad at me or somebody treating me funny or somebody having a problem. Like, I don't need any more problems on the list of my problems right now. And so I just gave her my 30 days and was like, look, I'm just going to go. Obviously, you're not comfortable with me being here. I'm going to go. But guess what? I didn't have a place to go, right? Once again, I had no place to go, you guys. So, and again, still in the same position with the evictions on my credit and with, my credit's shitty, like with barely no money. Like, I was struggling so much just to pay her $1,200 for her room, right? All right. So I go once again to my imagination, okay? This time I use the sat scene again. Sat scenes never fail, okay? And this time my sat scene was me taking a key, pushing it into a lock, turning it, opening the door, walking in, seeing my TV put up, which you can actually see right there. Seeing my TV put up, and I just to add some like vividness, I would see the windows with rain, and I would see like there's like a hang drum, heart chakra hang drum video that I was listening to at the time. I still listen to it sometimes, but that's what I was listening to. So I was like, ooh, I'd have that on my TV playing. So I would walk in, see that on the TV, see the rain, and I would walk in with groceries, and set them on my kitchen counter. And so that was my scene. Push the key in the door, unlock it, open the door, walk in, see what I'm seeing, walk into the kitchen, set it down, okay? So that was my sat scene. I did that. And did I apply many places? I didn't really apply to too many. Oh, I was trying to get rental assistance, right? Which I think they're called rental assistants. But those people that tell you like, oh, we can get you in, they can't. Like, these people, they were such a scam. And I was so mad because I'm like, you're taking money from people who are literally trying to move, that are desperate, and you literally can't help them. But anyways, I did that. I'm doing all this stuff. Nothing's working. I come here and I see the place. It's gorgeous. I love it. And ironically, it was one of the places on the rental assistance website. And so I explained, I'm with the rent lady. We talk, we hit it off. She's cool. And I explained to her like my situation. I was like, look, I have evictions on my credit. I have, because, the first one with my ex and me trying to escape like a toxic situation. And then the next one was, you know, them saying I didn't give them notice. And to be honest, I don't really owe them, because the money that they're saying I owe them is the money that they owe me for my deposit that they said they would give to me. And so I just let her know, and I just kept it 1,000 with her. And she, I remember when like she pre-qualified me and it denied me. Cause, oh yeah, I was trying to get the evictions off my credit, and one of them fell off for a minute. And when I got to that day, like when I got that day that I went to the rental office, it came back on my credit. And I remember when she brought me the paper and it said denied, and it was like, she was like, look, you have an eviction right here. And I just started crying. And I explained everything to her, and she was like, what are you going to do? And I was like, I'm just going to keep praying. I'm just going to keep praying, because that's all I can do, you know? And she just was like, I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you. And she helped me. She was like, just do your application manually and I'm going to get you approved. She got me approved, got me in here. Okay. So my mouth is a little dry from continuous talking. But I want you guys to see, I wanted to make this video because a lot of the reason why I have so much faith, you guys, is because of circumstances like this. And mind you guys, this is just the times that I've used this for specifically getting a home. That's it. Each time, you guys, it was impossible. Looking at it from what the world would say, the world of Caesar, it was impossible. It was like, girl, just you better go find you a nice corner to sleep on, or pack your stuff and get to Florida and just let your car get repossessed and all your bills go unpaid. There's no way for you. But I knew that the way has already been made. And it's more about me lining myself up with that way. It's more about me continuously deciding and assuming that the way has been made. But every time, you guys, especially when I was moving into here, I mean, honestly, with all of them, one thing that Neville says is to know that your sat scenes are real. It's not just a visualization that's like, oh yeah, you just imagine that and it's not real. No, it's real. So every time I would be faced with like, this isn't going to work out, I'm getting closer and closer to the deadline, I would get to the point and say, I've already been there. I've already been there. I already experienced it. I already won. Not only did I already win, but I already experienced it. I already saw my place. I already went. I already got the keys, right? Every time I would feel doubt or fear, I already did this. It's already done for me. Okay. So I feel like I just explained how to do it with all of these, but if you're manifesting a home, you're going to do SATs. That's the best thing for you to do. You can affirm as well, but push the key into the lock, turn it, open the door, see the home, right? Drive up to it if that is what you want to do. In your imagination though, you guys, drive up, see the home, feel the feeling of, oh my God, I manifested this. Oh my God, I manifested this place. Okay. Oh my God, this is my home. Feel that feeling, you guys, and persist. If anything that this taught me, and I hope it teaches you, is that it does not matter what anybody is saying, what it seems like, what the rules are, okay? You are above that. You're above the rules. You're above what they're saying. You're above their decision. Your decision is above their decision, okay? So I am intending that this helps you guys. I'm intending that it prospers you. I'm intending that this assists you in getting your amazing, beautiful dream home. Please comment when you do. And yeah, let this be encouragement. Just see it as the way that I always say it is like Karate Kid. Jacket on, jacket off, jacket on, jacket off. Me paying my rent. It wasn't about manifesting my rent. It was about me over and over and over and over and over understanding and demonstrating that my mind is above the circumstance. Okay. And that is a gift and a revelation that will serve you forever. All right. So I love you guys, intending that this prospers you. I know that it does. And I will see you guys in a video soon.